you already know what you're waiting on. And then if you've analyzed all the pairs that you looked at, and you already know what you're waiting for on each pair.
Okay, cool.
Okay. So, well, before I start the simulation, we're just gonna, I guess, open up a pound Aussie chart, and I guess if anybody has any questions, template, load template, original. All right. Can anybody see my screen? I mean the chart. Okay. Or do I need to make it bigger?
No, it's okay.
Okay. This is.
Bigger would be nice.
All right. All right. Let me view toolbar charts. Okay, this is a 4-hour chart of the pound Aussie, which this week, this month has been moving pretty good. You had a big down move, a big up move, and you know, yesterday it had a nice move down and then ended up with a nice move up. So we're going to take yesterday's movement. If you're looking at the 4-hour, you see that you have a 2-ball here, which indicates the market is trying to turn around, right? So you put a line there. You say, okay, at this point, the market is trying to change direction from going up, going down. Well, this is what the H10 does, or you have the H12. H10 is pretty much telling you the market is swinging from a low point. It finally, and the ball indicated the low point. But you knew already by looking at the H10, the market is trying to turn around. So by combining the H10 with the ball, now you have a better idea when the market is actually turning around and when it's actually moving in that direction. So when you're on your 4-hour chart and you're looking for a pair that may be moving in a specific direction, right? You know, you try to focus on the turnaround points, and then you're only trading in that direction. So at this point, yesterday or the day before, the market illustrated that it wanted to turn around, right? And the market actually started changing, the H10 started changing color at this point, right? So we go down to a 15-minute chart. Okay, so if you look at your 15-minute chart, this is the area where that 4-hour peaked, right? This is where it peaked. Look at your H10. Your H10 hasn't turned yet, right? It turned red here, telling me, okay, this is the peak, and the market is trying to go down, right? But you know this is the peak, and this is your 15-minute, and you're following your. Let's go down to a 5-minute. Right, this is the Asian session. You're down to a 5-minute chart. the H4 or H3 has peaked out, so that's pretty much your high of the day. And if you look at your line, this is a simulation of an H4 line, right? The H4 line was coming from a low, trying to make a high. So you made a high for the day, change color. This has changed color. You made a high for the day in the Asian session. Look at the 1 hour. The 1 hour is coming from a low of the session, making the high of the session. So let's go back to the 4 hour. What do we know at this point? That we only want to go short because we think the market is going short. And the only time we're going to take a short is if we're at the high of a session, or the higher session has been created and then you're just waiting for a pullback to go short. But at this point, we're at the high of the session. Go back to the 5 minute. We at the high of the Asian session. Perfect. We want the market to go down. We at the high of the day, right? We had a turnaround point on the 4 hour, and we're only thinking of taking shorts. We at the high of the session, high of the day. Now we can start looking for trades. Where did everything sunk up? The H3 or H4 sunk up within the session. You can take that trade, right? It has sunk up. Your 10 sunk up here. So now you know you definitely know that the market has turned around on the 4 hour chart. Go back to the 4 hour. What are we at? We at a red. That means this is confirmed and the market is gonna move down. We're only looking for shorts. So you only concentrate on this pair for shorts. You disregard, even though you may get longs, disregard the longs and just concentrate on where the big move is gonna go. All right, so we go back to the 5 minute chart. And we only know we're looking for shorts. This is your first entry. Market is Asia's going, so you can get out of here for possibly 39 pips from the time you got in. 39, 37 pips. Okay. Now what you're waiting for is the next setup, right? The 1 hour is cycling up, telling you it wants to find a high of a session. Right in between the London session and the Asian session, you got two things going on. You know the H10 is short. You're only looking for shorts. We have established that earlier off the turnaround point. So your mindset is only shorts. When is the next alignment? If you're here at this point, you have a perfect alignment. Everything is aligned. You can start going in that direction. Let's say you come in the London session. What do you have in the London session? The 1 hour is still strong. So since this is the beginning of the London session and the 1 hour is still strong, your 30-minute saddle, right? Even though this is not the high of this session, but you come in at a high. When the London hits, this is my high of the London, since my 1 hour is still strong. So I'm really at the high of the London session, just continuing to trade in that direction. And if you're lucky to get in here, you got you 87 pips until the 1 hour change color. What does the 1 hour changing color mean? Mean that you're most likely at a low of the session. Okay, you already traded from the high to the low, you're done for that session. Unless the 1 hour saddles or the 30-minute saddles and the 1 hour tries to saddle, then you maybe go for a continuation. But at this point, you're done for the trade. You either got 87, or if you're lucky to get two positions, you have 54 and 87 or 90 points. You're pretty much done for the day. Well, let's say you want to continue to trade. At this point, you're done. You're no longer looking for a setup. You're only looking to go short, right? Did you get a short setup here? No, even though the market moved, because it's ranging. There's pips to be made, but 29 pips. But everything's not set up. You want high probability setups. You just don't want to get any kind of pips. You want high probability setups, then you'll be accurate 90% of the time, and you get very small losses when you take high quality setups. You're only going for shorts. You're not getting the shorts, right? Everything got set up here, right? But it's the 10-minute, my 10-minute or 15-minute is not fresh. It's been going for a while before even everything's set up. So you already late at the end of the run. you're you're at the low of the session, right? And the market is going sideways. Do you want to risk, getting through all this chop movement, just for a few more pips before the New York session? No, you don't want to risk that. You got to keep in mind, after every big move, there's always some kind of consolidation. You don't want to trade within the consolidation if nothing is set up. And now you wait for the New York session. What's going on in the New York session? Okay, you see that the 4-hour H3 has peaked out. So that's telling me, okay, maybe I found the low of the day. Good thing I wasn't trying to trade lower because the 4-hour H3 is peaking out. Okay, I found the low of the day. All right, let's go back to the 4-hour chart. Right? This is the low of the day. This is your low of the day. Go back to your 4-hour chart. And what do you see on your 4-hour chart? The 4-hour chart is giving you a ball. And the ball is just an indication telling you, I might be trying to turn around. The H10 is still red, right? So you wait, you at the low of the day. Let's see if it sets up, if it actually turns around and sets up to go long, right? As the New York starts, you're not going against your 4-hour, your H3 just to go short. You're in a turnaround point. And you're at the low of the session. All these three are aligned. It's fresh. You can take that as a session trade, right? If you took that as a session trade, you was rewarded by 31 pips, right? Color changed on the 1 hour. So you're getting out somewhere between here when the 30-minute change, since even the 1 hour changed, the 30-minute was still strong. So it still had momentum. So this is where it actually changed, right? So maybe you got 21 pips out of it or 30 pips, depending on your exit signal. But now, what do we have now? Go back to your 4-hour chart. We have a ball telling us that it was trying to turn direction. What do we have on the H10? We have confirmation that it's changed color. Go back to your 5. What do we have here? 10 had changed color already. So this right here, when you was getting out of this trade, it was already giving you heads up that the market is going to want to push up some more. And all you're really waiting for is for alignment to go long, right?
I don't mean
So-
to interrupt, but the H10 could be flip-flopping between red and yellow, blue, because
Correct.
the price is moving down. So just be aware.
Correct. It could be flip-flopping from red to blue. But at this point right here, where everything was lined up, it was most likely already set. Yeah, it wasn't, and nothing was aligned here, so you're not trading in this area where it could be flip-flopping, right? Once everything aligned, this probably was already set, and then you have your last trade for the day for a possible 75. So one pair, concentrating on one pair, and just focusing on what it's doing, you're able to make, I don't know if anybody could keep count, potential 75, all right? Plus, let's give it 20 pips, 75 plus 20. 40, let's say you got in around here, 44 plus maybe 87. And if you're lucky enough to trade the Asian session, a good maybe 50 pips. How much is that total?
276.
276, one day, one pair. No stress, you're just following the system, right? So let's say pound Aussie and Euro Aussie, they were probably going the same way, same direction. If you want to trade multiple pairs, same thing. Euro Aussie may have gave you a better look. Same scenario. Everything lined up into the London session. Everything lined up. Look, the euro gave you a better look from the beginning, even though the H10 wasn't aligned, but you did have a H4, H3 trade in the session that would have kept you in to the end, 99 pips. So now you have two pairs possible of over 250 pips each. That's 500 pips in one day. Do you really need to trade for the rest of the day or for the rest of the week? And this is the power of finding a pair, a quality pair, trading it, and you may only have to trade 1, 2, 3 days in a week, get you lots of pips, and then you're ready for the next week. You don't have to
Okay.
sit behind the computer all day long trying to trade.
Can you illustrate how to find a pair at the beginning of the week?
Okay. Let me pull up my other scan chart. Template. Low template. Okay, so here is what I use to scan, right? We have the D2, D1, H12, 8, 4, and 1. You have more time frames just to see what's best aligned, right? And let's say at the beginning of this week right here, right? Can everybody see that? Or is it too small?
Is that the beginning of the week?
This is the beginning of the week. All these damn. Oh, that's a 5-minute chart. I'm sorry.
Yeah, go to the 4-hour chart.
Okay.
Can you zoom out a little bit?
Okay.
Yeah.
So this is the beginning of the week. If I was looking at this pair at the beginning of this week, right? I know I have a ball right here, right? I know the D2 is wants to go long. My D1 wants to go long. My H12 is short, right? So you have to wait till it turns. By that time, your H10 will probably have turned. But this is the beginning of the week. You have a ball here. So you're monitoring this pair until everything gets aligned, right? So I'll come in the same day and everything got aligned in this hour right here. So I know on this pair, right, I go down to a 1-hour chart or a 15-minute chart. Where we at? Right? This is the beginning of the week. And what am I analyzing? I already, by looking at the 4-hour, I already know which direction I was trying to trade. I just needed everything to align. Well, I know of the 4-hour filter that I was looking for a low, right, of the day to go long, right? And on the 1-hour, I'm looking for the low of the session to go long. So this thing. I already have my sentiment, my trade direction for the beginning of the week, right? Now, in the middle of the week or the same day, so this is 1, 2, at the end of the day, you have an X, a ball, meaning the market is trying to turn around. Everything lined up, started to line up here, right? The H12 on down should be lined up here. So I'm only going for shorts for the rest of the week. So I've got one pair that I analyzed at the beginning of the week, and I said to myself, okay, it looks like it's setting up. Just have to wait for an alignment to go long, and alignment to go short. Right now, when you're doing you're scanning your pairs, of course, you want the best pairs are when everything's already aligned, and you just go with it. But you have to learn that this pair is still a good pair. You just have to wait for the alignment. You have to keep it to the side. You're not trading it until everything's aligned. So let's move on to another pair. Let's say he was looking at the EuroCAD. No, let's try a pound dollar pair. Pound dollar. What do you have at the beginning of the week on your 4-hour chart? Do you have a ball or I changed mine to the X's. Coming into the week, short. Everything's aligned short. Even your D2, is the D2 aligned? Everything's in alignment. So this is a pair right off the bat I want to trade. It's an alignment for the beginning of the week. So when I go, I'll go straight down to my, let's unhook that. Where's my anchor? I don't have an anchor. It's hiding somewhere. Sorry, guys.
Maximize your screen. Hit at the top of the chart.
Oh, I think I see it right here.
Okay.
I want to say that's it.
It's still on the top. See it.
You said
Oh.
maximize the chart?
Yeah. No. Take a scroll off first. You still don't see it?
Change your color of the
Yeah. Right click on chart properties.
grid.
Change your grid color to something else instead of gray. Make it yellow or something. There it is at the bottom corner, left corner.
Yeah, pull it out. There you go.
You've got to grab it. Yeah, there you go.
There we go. Jesus Christ. Okay. Where are we at? Right here. So I have analyzed the pair, and I know for the beginning of the week, I'm only going short on this pair. All right. Did it move? I don't have enough. I don't have it made. I have enough. Actually, let me do this. Just for the purpose of this new option.
Yeah, make it 5,000. By the way, on the weekend, I'd make it like 100,000 if I need to analyze something, back in 2 months or something. So I can get 1 minute also, for the week. And then I put it back to 5,000 at the before the Sunday open.
Okay. So now let's go back to the 5 minute. There we go. Perfect. So I know I'm only going for shorts. This is my 5 minute chart, right? I need to change the template on that, but No template. Okay. And we're looking at the pound dollar. Right. Yeah, we're looking at the pound dollar at the beginning of the week. Okay. That's 10:18. This should be 10:18, right? This beginning of the week. So we're here at this point. Analyze, we're only going short for the beginning of the week. So I'm only looking to take shorts, right? And I go over to my 15-minute chart. Right? In order to take a short, what do I have to wait for? Can anybody answer that? If I'm in the Asian session, what am I waiting for?
High ball,
Excuse me?
a high ball.
Need to think.
Yes, we're waiting for in sync, but where within the session I most likely want to take a trade? Is it going to be at the low of the session or at the high of the session?
Oh, the high.
Okay, so we know coming in, starting here, right? We want a high, and we look at the 1 hour. The 1 hour is giving us that. It's giving us a high of the session potential right here, right?
Right.
And we know the H10 is already short because we analyzed it earlier. So all we're waiting for is just an alignment.
Mhm.
H3 gave you the high of the day. Well, we already know we're coming in going short. So everyone's just looking for highs. 15-minute gave you a high. So once you go down to your 5-minute, let me anchor this one. I can find the anchor on this one too. There we go. You're right here. You have a ball on a 15-minute, right? This is where structure comes in. 1, 2, 3. You have a yellow ball, a pullback. All this is telling you exactly what's going on. You can visually see it, the pullback, and you're going for your continuation. So go down to your 5-minute. There's that same ball on the 5-minute. That's on the 15-minute, and everything's aligned right here to go short. You can play it down all the way down to that's 35 pips until you get a change of color. Right here. So
Let's take add-ons.
yeah, plus you can take your add-ons. You get add-on right here. Yeah, you had maybe another add-on right here if you wanted to. And a last minute add-on if you want, somewhere around here. So, but now you're at the low of the of a possible low of the day that quick, right? So you're no longer trending short, nothing's aligned short, right? So what do we have at this point? You go back to your 4 hour. Right? Your H10 is trying to peak. It's H10 is still telling you go short, but your H4 is cycling up. Your H1 is cycling up, right? So now you're in the London session. Well, let's not get back into it. We're trying to see how do we pick our trades, but that's how you pick your first trade for you're looking at it, right? When you get to this point, and this area is not tradable. As you can see, it's a lot of back and forth, back and forth. All these trades are just strictly session trades, and H3 or H4 has to be aligned with your H1, and you can take that trade. If it's not aligned, you know, over here it's aligned, you could take that trade down. It's within the session only, right? Nothing's aligned. So the market move, but are you going to take that chance with all this back and forth, right? Somehow, some reason it looks like the market is trying to transition. So you get to this point right here with this peak, which is this peak right here. You see that you have on the 4 hour, you see you have a ball on the 4 hour telling you the market is trying to turn around. on what did your H12 do at this point? It changed color. H10 changed color over here, right? So at this point, you're no longer looking to go short. Now you're looking for the market to turn around and go long. So you're only going long at this point. Now all you're waiting for is for alignment. So by looking at your scan chart, you was able to take advantage of a trade going down and see the market transitioning from a down move now to an up move. You playing your swings from ball to ball, you know, from ball to ball. Now you playing from this ball till you get another ball and the confirmation that the market wants to turn around. So from this point on, I'm only looking for longs and looking for alignment. So the next day, I'm only looking for longs. So I'm only looking for low of the sessions. Right off the bat, you get the low of the session. Right off the bat, you get the low of the day. So first alignment, you're not taking no trades there. The spreads are too high. You're taking trades over here. Everything's aligned. Now you're in the line with the D2 and H10. So you know you're going for a nice run. You got a lot of momentum behind you. And market never will look back, right? You can stay in it until it changes color or to the end of the day. But let's say you're not in the Asia session, you're in the London session. What did the London session give you? Another alignment to go long off the low of the session. You know you want to go long, you're only looking for a trade off the low of the session. We know we're going short, we're looking for trades off the high of the session, high of the session, high of the session. Long, low of the session, but it gave you an early indication it was already low, continuation. Low of the session, and now you're at a high point. H3 turned over, right? You're at the high of the day. I'm no longer looking for any more trades unless I get a setup to go short. All right, H3 on down is probably set up to go short, but do you really want to risk all that sideways movement that comes at the end of the day? You already made your pips going up. So you have to know when to call it quits and say, I'm done and this is too risky. After having a big move like this, the market's going to want to pull back a little bit, go sideways. I'm not even going to play around with it. Right? So what date is this? 4 hour. I mean, do you guys, I mean, am I making it clear enough for you to follow and just trying to make it simple? Just take certain steps and make sure you align and wait for your setup and then just trade in that direction. Does that make any sense for you guys? Do you guys have any questions?
I understand.
Yes,
That's perfect.
clear.
Where you go through saying, okay, now we're at the low of the session or the high of the session. I don't think those things would be quite as obvious in real time before the session was actually there, visible, you know, like we're looking at it now. But I noted that your bias was in the higher histogram directions, like the D2 and such, so.
Yeah, because indicators are lagging a little bit, you may not get the change of color right away. But once everything is set, the colors should already have been established already. Especially on your, especially on your 1 hour. Sometimes it takes a little longer, but you can. What was I? Let's say, for instance, here at this Asian session, right? You're seeing the swing up. You're only going long, right? According to the H3, right?
Yeah,
It's telling you it's trying to find a high of the day, the H3. So in order to go long, right, you have to buy off the low. So when the market pulls back here, gives you a 2-ball, now all you do is waiting for it to get in sync. And your 1 hour probably change color somewhere around this area. Even if it took 2 bars down, your actual trade was over here after already had sunk up. Right here where everything is in sync.
To answer Mark's question about it not being set, you can wait at the top to the top of the hour for the color to be set on the 1 hour to know that your high, low of the session or high of the session is done, and then take your trade from there. Yeah, it won't be the most efficient or maximum trade, but you'll still get good pips out of it.
Yeah.
And that way, your colors on the 1 hour on the 5 minute are set, and you don't have to worry about the flip flop. I think that's what you're worried about, right, Mark? Mark?
yes, I do get that. My question was actually a little bit different, but it's still, I think I understand.
Okay, cool. I think Deborah also for you should come clear as to your flip flop and stuff. As to
Are
what to do.
you okay with the H10 color here at the beginning of this session in the center of the gray side of the screen there, because it's on the positive side of the 0 line, so it's actually technically still long too.
Yeah, well, this is a concern because the market has shifted from going long to going short, right? And it's been going short since the previous day.
And the other
But-
ones are all showing turning, so.
Yeah, all these are showing that it's starting to turn. So I am concerned because 10 is short, but what do I have within the session? What do I have? What trade do I have now? If I'm going against the H10, right? Is a H3 trade or H4? Which direction is the market trying to move for the day today? It could be going against this counter trend, but if I'm only looking at this pair, this is the only choice I have to trade in this direction right now.
Yeah, you'll expect a bumpy ride because the D10, the H10 is not in sync with the H3.
Yeah,
But it'll still go up because the trend is changing. Does that make sense?
You bet.
yeah. Then versus here when the trend actually changed. So you took a trade going whatever direction the session is telling you it wants to go. And it turned out that you took a trade right at the beginning of the transition period that the 10 was transition to go up. So if we go over to a 4-hour chart at the same location, where were we? Right here. You see that there's a turnaround point. You don't have a ball here because this is not a major swing, right? But the market was attempting to turn around and gave you a change of color. Now you don't have a ball to illustrate. Okay, this may be a turnaround point, but that's where your filter comes in. Just follow your filter. It's the same thing. The ball is just a heads up. The market's going to turn around. You didn't get a heads up here.
You
Or
probably
maybe-
have a ball on the 1 hour at that point.
Yeah, you probably and maybe this ball was here.
Yeah.
And then it got taken out and moved up. So you at this
Right.
point you probably did have a ball and didn't create a ball here because then this one got taken out. Then you got a ball here for continuation. So you may not always get a ball on the 4 hour, but if you follow the H10, which is the same thing as your 4 hour swings, you'll still be in the same, you still have the same opportunities. So go back to the 15, where were we? Oh, this trend right here. So that's the difference between this was an original counter trend trade that turned into a trend trade. But if I'm only trading a specific pair, I have to trade what the market gives me in that specific session, right? So that's why we advocate on looking for pairs that are set up in a specific direction that you know which direction is going, then you already know what to trade in that direction and what not to trade, or if you trade against it, you know it's short-lived. But if I'm only just saying I'm only trading pound dollar for the rest of the month, I have to acknowledge that I'm going against the trend and what's the market giving me right now? Or
Yeah.
it's giving me a setup to go long off the H3 setup on down. I mean the H3 and the H1 have to be set up in that direction, regardless of what the H10 is doing. The long-term trend, it just makes it easier for you to trade in those directions. You know, each session is probably going to give you a bias and a strong move in that direction. You see, once this turned, this H10 turned, strong. New York session came in, gave you a low, strong up. Your bias is there, and you're just waiting for the setup. It's easier to see the setup and easier to trade. Does that make any sense?
Indeed.
Yep.
So this is the beginning of the month. I mean, beginning of the week. Let's look at another pair. Let's look at the Euro Yen. Boom, Euro Yen.
Just to put my 2 cents in, Monday is always a tricky day to trade.
Yeah. Yeah.
Correct.
Because the market makers are setting their orders and they're going to jerk it around, right? So you'll see a lot of trend changes on Monday. And then then Wednesday and Friday. Those are 3 days trends might change during the week. It always doesn't happen on Monday and Wednesday. It could happen Friday and Tuesday. But there's a 2-day difference between the high and the low of the trend for the week. So just an observation.
Correct. So that's why you don't marry yourself to a specific trend, and that's why we have this set up so you can start seeing the change in trend. And even if the trend changes, you can still trade within the session against or with the trend. It doesn't matter what the market is doing. You can still find your setup against the trend or with the trend. You know?
To confirm what Rajiv has said, a lot of you out there remember Natalie Watson, and she didn't trade Monday. She said, I won't trade Monday. I let them do what they're going to do, and then I'll take a look at it after they're done messing around.
Correct.
So it's a good point, Rajiv. Thank you.
Yeah, I've heard that before. People just don't they let Monday and Tuesday see what's how the market is setting up and then make a decision from there.
Yeah, they don't trade Monday, but then they look at the high and the low of the day on Tuesday, and that
Yeah.
sets the direction for the rest of the week.
Right. Exactly.
However, with this system, you can be a sniper and a sharpshooter and still trade those days. Just a thought.
Correct. So if I'm going through all my pairs, this is the Monday going into Tuesday. You know, Aussie yen, you know, gave a good trade short. Then you know you got your turnaround point in the middle. You know, market's getting ready to turn around. Got an X. Everything's lined up here. You know, your H12, 8 is lined up. Everything else below that is probably lined up. So if I go over to my, what was this, Aussie yen? Aussie yen for beginning of the week is here. So if I'm looking at this and I see a pair doing this, right? It's coming off a long move up, pull back, move up, pull back. So the only logical thing is the market's going to try to make a strong move up. Just by looking at, not looking at nothing else, just looking at the flow of the market.
Yeah, overall trend is long. So
Long.
you're trading a retrace and expecting it to go back up.
And expect it to go back up. So this is golden. This is a pair that I say I want to continue to trade for the rest of the week because I'm getting I just came off a pullback and I'm getting a continuation. So I would definitely keep this in the radar to trade. So
Sorry, go ahead.
no, go ahead.
I was just going to comment on the Aussie yen. If you choose to, if you want to, go to all your yen pairs. Go to the New Zealand yen, the pound yen, the euro yen on the gray chart, and you'll see they're all in an uptrend
Correct. Yeah,
because of the yen.
Because of the yen, everything is in the uptrend.
So that's one way. I mean, the way you just explained is the way to do it. I'm just saying it's really apparent, like, well, that yen looks good. Well, let's look at another yen pair. Oh, well, let's look at another yen pair. You really know, along with what you just shared with everybody, well, I'm trading the yen pairs. And you mentioned in the Skype room, I think yesterday, that or maybe the other day, I don't know. But anyway, you're talking about the yen pairs. Well, there's a reason for that. The yen
Correct.
pairs are moving.
Correct.
And your dashboard helps you there because you can see all the alignments.
There you go. Yeah.
See all the yens here, they'll be similar. Everything, they're short now because they're turning around.
That's even better. Yeah. Right.
So you can marry what I'm saying is on Sunday night at 9 p.m., not at 5 p.m. 9 p.m. is when the market settles down a little bit after all the craziness is over with the spreads. You can look at your dashboard and see which pairs as a basket are lining up. And then look at the 4 hour and see what if it matches what you're looking at on the dashboard. So it's a two-step process. And once you get your basket straight, you got the rest of the week, to do what you need to do because your 4 hour, you've already analyzed. That's the way I analyze the market, especially with a dashboard. The dashboard really helps.
Correct. So at this point is a no-brainer. The Aussie yen is I know I'm only looking for longs. And if you look over here, there's a 4 hour chart. This is your ball telling you it wants to turn around. From this point on, let's put if I'm on my 5 chart, I'm just waiting for it to.
Yeah, I was going to say from that point, I'm on my 5-minute chart just looking for long frames.
Just waiting for it to sync up. The thing is having the patience. You have the plan already. You see all this movement going down, and you get the urge to trade those moves, it could be traded. That move down could be traded, right? 20 something pips, but don't lose focus on what you're waiting for, which is the setup to go long. And that's one thing I used to do before. I knew the direction I was going, get caught up in the opposite direction, thinking it's going to continue to go down, and I totally miss the change in direction. And now I'm over here trying to go short because I forgot that I was looking for a long trade anyway. It's easy to lose focus because you get married to a direction, and you think because it's moving strong, the market's going to continue to go down when it's actually transitioning to go up. And you analyze that, but you just didn't follow through.
That's why it's important to keep a journal and a trade plan in the journal.
Exactly. When you're analyzing your pair, you write it down saying, okay, I'm looking for a high. This is a turnaround point. I'm looking for a high of a session. I'm looking for a high of the day. And, for my H10 to change color, everything to get aligned at a high of the session. Come back to the pair. Is the trade there yet? If it is, then you take it. But you have something written down just in case you forget which direction you're trying to trade. Now, if the conditions change, you come back and see if the conditions are still there. If the conditions are still there and you're just waiting, then it's all a waiting game. Like if I write down, I'm waiting to go long, and I'm right here, right? There's no conditions to go long yet. I'm waiting. H10 change color. Oh, now I'm interested, right? Everything is sunk up here in the New York session. Now I can actually take a trade in the New York session to go long. And what am I expecting for the next day? I'm expecting for continuation to move up. My H10 is strong, is the fresh turnaround point. So what I even looking at the next day, what I'm looking for lows of the sessions, low of the Asian session to go long, maybe low of the London session to go long, or low of the New York section to go long, right? So the next day comes in, what do I get in the Asian session? Get a low,
Yep.
right? Get a pullback, and you get another attempt to go in here. I already have it planned out before even the day starts. So when it happens, it's easy for me to pull the trigger.
So you know your bias, you have your bias, and
Correct.
then you're looking for the low of the session to get a good price, not just enter, like Rajiv said a couple of weeks ago, just don't enter blindly. And I admit I've done that numerous times. Just, oh, it looks good. It's a 4-bar or whatever it might be. And I enter and like, oh, I'm all messed up. So
Correct.
what you're showing is really sound technical analysis, very
Correct.
sound.
Correct. And that like you said, like Ken said, your discount price. Your discount
Yeah.
price is going to come at the low if you're trying to go up, and it's going to come at a high if you're trying to go short.
Right.
The best discount price is going to be of the low of the day and the low of the session. You happen to catch both, the best
Yep.
discount you can get. So you know you're going for the HDR for this pair, maybe 60 or 70 pips, to the high, and even kept going even more. So that's
I mean, to put it in technical terms, the low of the session is giving you the order block entry at the low.
correct.
Okay. I mean, it's basically, you don't even have to draw order blocks. The order blocks are drawn for you by looking at the low of the session.
Correct.
That makes sense?
Yeah, for those who are familiar with order blocks or trade off the order blocks, it's pretty much what you're doing. You're waiting for a discount, a price coming back to an area where the market is gonna catch more orders to go in the direction that it's going. And it's basically what you're doing. You're catching the low of, and it just happens to be that those order blocks are at the lows or at the highs. It all fits in with any kind of logical analysis or any structure that you're looking at, no matter what kind of trading you like to do. These are just the basics, and what we're trying to illustrate, trying to trade, is being able to get everything in alignment to trade the basic moves. And the basics is you always want to try to get discount low of the day, high of the day, low of the session. We're just fortunate enough that we are able to actually do that. A lot of people struggle trying to say, okay, should I be trading here? It looks like a good price, but man, the market could be going down. Maybe I need more confirmation. By the time they get confirmation, they break up this structure. Market is turning around, maybe stopping them out, or they get out of the trade because they got in too late. We're fortunate enough to see what's going on and being able to get in at a decent price with very low stop loss, and able to because you're so low, you are able to let your trade mature, even with the pullbacks.
Yeah, I mean, I've done all kinds of technical analysis, Fib extensions, Fibonacci retracements, you name it, I've done it,
Trend line breaks,
trend line breaks, everything.
everything.
This thing basically gets rid of all that, replaces all of that just visually by looking at the low of the session or the high of the session. Because at the low of the session, if you're entering, the setup is going to break a trend line and for you to go long. Or it's going to be at a 0.76 or a 0.68 retracement the first up move for you to go, long.
Okay,
So it's
came back
giving
to the-
you a premium entry.
Yeah, if you're doing your fibs, market came back to the 786 and
Yeah.
turn around.
Right,
If you're doing a trend line break, market broke a trend line right here.
right.
Yeah, you got a bull flag there.
And
You can-
if you got a
You
bull
can
flag,
do, what is that?
Beautiful. Damn, that's
Bollinger
beautiful.
Bands. Bollinger Bands is the lower part of the Bollinger Band going up. You can draw
Yeah.
any technical indicator you want. This is going to satisfy each one of them, so you don't have to worry about drawing all of this.
Right, right. Good stuff, man. Good stuff.
and it's just basic. You know, you don't have to overcomplicate things. You just need to stay focused and see it. If you see the trend forming, you see the trend, it makes it easier. If you see the formation, it makes it easier for you to take the trade, right? But in order to do that, you have to analyze and keep with your plan and see and follow it through.
The only reason I mention all of those indicators because I have struggled with them in the past too. And there have been conflicting signals with the MACD and Fibonacci's and whatnot all over the freaking place. It's confusing as heck to figure out the direction. This is very simple. You do your analysis on the 4 hour for your direction, and then you're looking at the high of the day, high of the session, low of the session, high of the day, low of the day. Only 4 things you're looking at to get your trade. And it satisfies every other freaking technical analysis that you could have done in the past. And you don't have to worry about it. Just a thought.
Totally agree. Because like if you don't know what your low of the day or higher of the day is, you're really trading blind. You're actually blind. You're flying a airliner blind. You don't know where you're going.
I'm not saying that this is 100% proof, right? But at least it gives you a higher percent chance that you are picking the right direction.
It's not 100% proof, but if you trade this way, your stop losses are going to be so small you won't feel bad. Plus, you won't kill your account.
Correct. But this out of every other system.
Sorry,
for that-
I just wanted to say I used to take 30 pip stop losses. I had a large account at that point. 30 pip stop losses for me was nothing. And now I look at this, I'm going, what the heck did I take 30 pip stop losses? I didn't need to. I go back of my trading history and look at it. I lost so much money because I was ignorant about some of this stuff. I'm not saying that this is going to satisfy 100% every trade like Clark put in yesterday, the 37 out of 37 winners. You're going to get some losers, but the losers are going to be so small compared to your winners that your account is going to grow. Just putting it out there. There's no such thing as a 100% system.
Correct.
I want to know how Clark did it, but I think he's not using stop losses, or he's using large stop losses to account for the trend going up and down. I'm not sure, but that's what it looks like.
Well, the thing is, it can be done, but you have to be choosing the right setups and be consistent with it. He's probably real picky on what setup he wants to take. It's very consistent. If you're all over the place and your setups are not, high quality setups, you're going to get some losses. And he's been trading the way he's been trading for a while. So he knows exactly what kind of setup he's looking for all the time. And if it's not there, he's not taking it. I mean, I'm maybe putting words in his mouth, but that's how I would think. I've gone a whole week without getting any losses because I'm focused on a pair and I'm only looking for specific things. And that's without this system. So I could just imagine. But I was always looking for a specific thing, and I'm getting it and getting out, getting my pips and getting out, not being greedy, and take no losses for the week. So it can be done, but you have to be focused. You have to be taking your pairs, look at your setup, and just trusting the system and analyzing. Okay, am I at the low of the day? Everything's confirming. everything's confirming going up, yeah, this is a perfect time. Everything's lined up to take it. You know, where you get out of it, you know, that's up to you. Your profit target, or you reach, or if you want to continue to trail it and get more out of it, you know, there's things that you have to decide on your own. But it can be done if you focus and you follow and not go off track trying to do too many things at one time. I'm sure Clark is not looking at 10 or 15 pairs and going back and forth to see if he has a trade here or have a trade there. He may be looking at 1, maybe 3 pairs, looking for the right setup and then taking his trades.
Plus, he also goes for like 20 or 25 pips per trade. So what you said about greed is a key thing. You know,
Correct.
you should have a plan not only for your trade but for your account, the money
Correct.
management piece.
Correct.
And you should be satisfied with what you get, not get greedy. Because if you get greedy, you're going to lose money. Market makers are experts at taking stops out when you get greedy.
Correct. Let's look at this 15-minute sideways movement, right? Market makers dream for people to go long, come here and take their stops. People to go short, come here and take their stops. People to go short again, pull back, people getting out of the market. All this sideways movement, right? But if you come in here and you're going against the trend, you're in the middle right here, trying to go long. Did you get in at the low of the session? No. So this market only moves about 30 pips on average within this session, right? Why am I getting in after the market has moved 15 pips, trying to grab another 15 pips if it wants to go up? Just because I got an alignment right here. I'm not taking the trade because I couldn't take it off the low of the session. Those are the things you have to keep aware of too. Just because you have an alignment within the session, is it worth taking? Okay, if I took this because I got an alignment, it went up 8 pips, then it started going against me, that's a loss. All right? Because now you're getting at the high of the session. It's just shifted to the high of the session. You need to be out of that trade. But I wouldn't even be taking that trade because I wasn't able to take it off the low of the session with a good risk to reward ratio. So those are the kind of decisions you also would need to be aware of, not just take any trade because it's aligned. Is it logical? Is it reasonable to take that session, take that trade there? And if I do, I need to be able to get out of that trade quickly, not let it hit my stop loss. Just because I got a 5-pip stop loss doesn't mean I have to let it hit the 5-pip stop loss. I could be up 2-3 pips and come down to break even. And I see markets change. I'm out of it. I'm not letting it hit my stop loss. Because you see the market is changing direction. Your stop loss doesn't mean, okay, take it if you want to. No, market condition changes. Don't let them take your stop loss. Get your 1 or 2 pips or break even, or 1 pip loss versus 5 or 10 pip loss. That's preserving your account. Does that make any sense?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
You don't walk down a busy street in Chicago or New York or LA and open up your wallet and give away your money. You know,
Yeah.
here, take my money. I'm an idiot. Take my money.
You open your wallet, you might lose your life.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, I'll take your wallet, but I'm going to kill you too.
If nobody has any questions, and I know we wanted to start simulation early, but I think this concept needed to be driven in
Sure.
and maybe seen again to maybe give some people a easier way to look at the market, a simple step-by-step to follow, to put them in the right track. I think that was more important than just trading and being all over the place while we're trading.
Yeah, I mean, just one caveat. I mean, when I look at the 4-hour chart, I'm looking at the beginning of the week to see if I'm in trend on the H10. Okay, which meaning whether I'm at the first red bar or second red bar. Because if you look at it, it will move at least 3 or 4 bars in that direction before it changes. And if I have 3 or 4 bars possibility, that's 12 hours of trading. Then I can plan my trades out at least for that long, and then I come back and look at it to see if it change direction or not. So I look at pairs that are in trend at the beginning of the week, and if it's a basket like what Ken was saying before, all the better. Then I can look at a basket. But if I don't have a basket, then I pick 1 or 2 or 3 pairs that are in trend. Like this one was in trend. Which one is this? Aussie and was in trend, right? I mean, it's not at the first red bar. It's actually an impulsive move to the downside. So this will be on my radar at the beginning of the week. Does that make sense? I mean, the good part is that I have a 1 ball at the top. So I know I'm in a retracement, but I can make some pips on that retracement, on the 4-hour retracement. Does that make sense? I'm just trying to make it easier for you guys to pick your trades. by
Yeah,
doing that
it's
analysis.
great. That H10 is, yep, I agree.
I mean, H10 is basically a half day,
Yeah,
of
yeah.
movement. So if you had 3 bars, that's a day and a half of movement in that direction.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
Now you guys have made it very clear. I commend you both.
Well, I know some of this could be confusing. You could get stuck just looking at colors and change, but it's always good to be reminded what each one of these mean. This is
Right.
your H10. It's like looking at your 400 chart. It's basically what you're doing, right? If you want to go to the longer term, the D2, like yen called out the pound, Len called out the pound yen was peaking out, right? For the month. What do we have here on the D2? We have a change of color. What do we have? We have a ball. This is a daily chart. This is what he was looking at. He's saying the yen was trying to be peaking out for the month. Here's your yellow ball. You already had a change of color telling you the market was trying to turn around.
On top of that, it was getting done with a huge run.
Hey,
It's not going to go up anymore.
Yeah, you know it's going to have to do some kind of retracement.
Right.
So for the month, looking at a daily chart. You know it's turning around, even for the month.
Yeah.
So it's the same concept. That's why all of these are here to let you know when the market is turning around. Look down here. This was the low of the month.
Yeah.
So just imagine you're looking at your D2 and it changed color here. You got a ball here on your daily. You only look for the rest of the month. You're only looking for longs.
Kaboom. Look at that.
But for this pair until it changes color.
What is that?
On the
About
D2.
400 or 500 pips total?
700.
From the beginning of the month, like over 800 pips, close to 800 pips.
There you go.
790 something.
There you go.
And the D2 represents a half a week. So if you have one red bar and it comes in again, red bar, that's like 6 days, 7 days.
Yeah.
So there is a reason why we picked D2 instead of massaging the numbers for half a week, which is 2.5 days. But
Instead of the weekly. Yeah.
yeah. So weekly would take too long, so
Yeah.
instead of doing that, we did half a week.
No, it's brilliant, guys.
Yeah.
It's brilliant. It really is.
Yeah. And this is a choppy month where it kept going up, down. It probably end up being like a doji month or something like that.
Mhm.
But you can still look at the trend, look at the D2, align with the H10. It peaked out for the month. Then over here, it peaked out for the month. Later in that month, D2 and H10 are aligned to go along. So you can actually go to your daily chart also and see where's the major turnaround points on your daily for the month.
Sure.
No, we concentrate more on the 4 hour.
4 hour,
So we can
yeah.
know, so we can know where we at throughout the week, turnaround points throughout the week, right? Here's a turnaround point right here. Here's another turnaround point to go short for the week. But you
Well,
can
you got-
combine the monthly, weekly, and daily turnaround points for big moves.
You guys are teaching structure. That's great stuff.
So that each one of these represent, don't lose focus of what each one represents. When you see the H10 change of color, that means your H4 is transitioning from a up move, trying to go short, forever how long it wants to go, right? When you see it peaking out and it changes color again, this not that much momentum because the momentum is just steady. But this is a little clear right here. When you see the H10 changing from red to blue, that's a transition that the market wants to keep going up.
Yeah.
Right. Your H4 has shifted from being low to going back long.
Resuming
here's-
this trend. Yeah.
Here's the small pullback, change of color. It's saddle, right? Now it's continue to trend.
Yeah.
The 4 hour, the 10, change color. Now you short, change color again. Now you long. So when don't get lost and you're in the 15-minute chart and you look at this H10, you know this is a transition and the market wants to go short. So it's logical that when you get a short setup at the high of a session, you're only going short. At the London, higher the London, this one didn't give you that great of an entry. There's one thing of the pound yen has got big swings. So this could be, a big swing. You probably wouldn't be able to catch that.
I mean,
Right.
that's one of the reasons why I take my trend from the 4 hour, because on the 4 hour, if a bar changes on the H10, I have my direction on the longer term, and then I can drop it to the shorter term and look for trades in that direction.
Correct.
Because we're trading it on a day-to-day basis, not a week basis.
Correct. So here's your H10 again. H10 is changing colors. What your 4 hour is probably changing direction now. You're only going looking for longs, right? For that day, you want to line up everything long.
Yeah. What you're doing, you're stalking that pair. You know which way you're going to go. You're just waiting to pull the trigger when everything aligns.
And that's not to say that when we get bigger accounts, personal accounts, like millions of dollars,
Yeah.
that you won't trade the D2s and Ws and all that, right? Because then you can do pure swing trading for the month because we have the account size for it. Right now, we don't have the account size. So that's why we're concentrating on H4 trend and 5-minute chart.
Got it.
Correct. Here's the pound yen. After leaving the Asian session, you have a yellow ball. Now, most likely, this is a ball on the 4 hour, right? Let's see if it is 4 hour. Remember, this is a change in direction.
Yeah, and
So
the
let's
beauty
see.
of it is that even though you move time frames,
go.
the
You have a
system will not change. Sorry.
Yeah.
The system analysis will not change, just the time frame will change. That's the beauty of this.
So if you're looking at the 15-minute and you see the market is trying to change, the H10 is trying to change direction, right? Go to your 4 hour. What do you have? You have a ball up here. It's red. You're only looking for shorts now, right?
Coming off the high. Yeah.
Yeah, you have a ball here. Now you have it, you're having a small pullback, right? That's that small pullback. Your H10 is still red until here. So you're not taking that trade long unless it's a H3 where we at 15. You're not taking this trend long unless the H3 is lined up in the session at the low of the session. You can take that against the H10, right? But
Yeah.
you're looking for a small pullback because on the 4 hour, you have, and that's the beauty about these balls.
Santiago,
Correct.
could you review that? I missed several trades this last week because I was waiting for the H10 to change color. And you just gave an example of how you didn't have to wait for the H10. Could you go over that
Okay.
again?
Sure. Do you remember which pair?
Thank you.
When it, do you remember which pair and when it happened?
Oh, just the one you were just talking about just a minute ago.
Oh, the
When
pound
you
yen?
do that, what's your bottom oscillator?
This one?
Yeah.
This is a weekly.
Okay.
This is just a weekly trend.
Yep.
So let's go back to, you want to go back from the beginning where it
Well,
changed
the
direction?
pound yen was kind of unique because the 2 ball was at the, right next to 1 ball above that right there. And
Correct.
it went up, and then it crashed. Like yesterday, and I think
Like yesterday,
Thursday.
the pound was the one that I was early in the London session that I get 60 pips, but the H10 wasn't in line at that moment.
Right, well, if you go back to yesterday, Santiago, on the 5-minute chart.
Hold on, Deborah, how back did you want to go back on the pound yen? Like earlier in the week or?
Oh, it doesn't matter. Any example on any pair, when the H10 doesn't line up with everything else. And you said,
Okay, I got you.
Yeah, yesterday was a perfect example of that.
Let's go back.
5-minute. Right, so
Well, everything eventually got aligned. It wasn't
in
looking-
the London session is where it wasn't aligned.
Okay.
Pound Aussie was, I remember very clear, Pound Aussie was a very good example of that.
Right. So
Okay.
the pound yen at the in the middle of that London session where you see the red ball. Yeah, the H10 was blue at that point, and it didn't turn red till it crossed that MACD line.
Okay,
Keep going
yeah.
to the right. Keep going. Somewhere in there. That's where it changed. Okay. So your next
Okay.
alignment would be your entry short, and that happened in the US session.
Correct. But I think she was talking about when these two don't align.
Correct.
So
The H10 was blue and the H3 was red.
correct. So the only trade setup that you have off the high of the session, right?
Yes. Mhm.
Would be in alignment with the H3 on down. So you got that right around here.
but,
Take a short.
excuse me, but what Raj said is exactly what happens. It doesn't go red until
Oh, no.
later,
One-
and that's what gets me
No.
so confused.
No,
Okay,
I'm
so
ta-
one
I'm
thing,
talking about-
I'm sorry, one thing to keep in mind, on the 5-minute chart, you're aligning the top 4, not the top 5. Okay,
Okay.
Correct.
the 5th one is just giving you the larger time frame trend, and that is going to take longer to change. But if your H3, H1, M30, and in this case M10 are aligned, that's your trade on the 5-minute chart.
Correct.
And that's giving you your high of the day and the low of the day and high of the session, low of the session.
Correct.
You already have your direction on the 4-hour chart that you want to go short. And you're waiting for those top 4 to align short to get your actual entry. And if the H10 later comes into being, then you can move to the 15-minute chart and you follow trade there without the topsy-turvy of the 5-minute chart.
Yeah.
That's the reason why the H10 is there. Okay.
Okay.
Deborah, when I say you have a session trade, meaning you in the London session and you're trying to look for a trade, the only time I would trade I'll have a trade in the Asian session is either I'm trading off the low or the high of that session. So let's say at the beginning of the session, regardless of what the H10 is doing, right? I'm looking at my H3 on down within the session, because that's the only opportunity I'm gonna get within the session. Is either gonna be with the trend or against the trend. So the first opportunity that I get is H3 aligned with everything below was at the low of the session, by illustrated by the 1 hour change in direction. Now I can line up to go long, right? Somewhere in here. You know, with a 1 minute will get you a better entry. But let's say you got in here somewhere.
Mhm.
That's close to 40 pips. You get
Oh.
out maybe 30 something pips. Okay, what has changed at this point? Right? You have a ball indicating the trend might change, and your 30-minute has changed color. So now and the 1 hour is changing color. Now you're at the high of the session. Now I have to say to myself, I'm at a high of the session. Is everything lined up to take a short trade? Is my H3 lined up? Yes. Is my H1 lined up to go short? Yes. Where's my entry? Just looking at the 5-minute chart right here to go short. So within this session, those are the only 2 trades I had against
Okay.
the overall trend, and then lined up. Well, this was blue, so it was with the trend, and then it started off against the trend on the move down, turned into within the trend.
Okay.
So it doesn't matter what the market wants to do, continue the trend. Within each session, you'll have your trade, the Asian session, regardless of what analyzation I've done, right?
Right.
I know I'm only going long, right? So I have a session trade to go long. Now I'm at the high of the session. Do I have a trade to go short? Is everything aligned? H3 is aligned to go short. H10, probably everything is aligned here. Yeah, I have a pullback trade to go short.
Okay. I got it.
So you know, this is just telling you, you know, where the market, the H10 is telling you the direction of the 4 hour, which is going, right? But we know that the market is not going to go straight up. It's going to have pullbacks, and the pullbacks may happen within the session. Even if it just goes sideways, you're going to have a trade from the low to the high, from the high to the low, as long as everything's aligned.
Okay.
I'm
Great.
not taking this low if my H3 is not aligned to go short.
Okay.
You know, before I would scalp with just the 1 hour alignment with everything else. And I just find out it's not as consistent as having the H3 aligned along with it. So I stopped doing that. And now I just wait. Even if I get a good trade missed, that's fine. There's going to be a lot of times where I catch it at the very top and I get a good trade. But at least I'm doing it with a higher probability setup.
Why did you change to H3 from H4?
Well, as you can see here on the, when I use this,
I'm sorry. I meant the other way around. I'm sorry. From H4 to H3, why did you start using H3? Sorry.
Okay, now I use both, right? When I analyzing, the H4 gives me a smoother ride for my analyzation. I could say it changed color, it's changing color, I'm peeking out, I'm going short. My H3, once I'm analyzing, my H3 is the H3 sets faster than the H4. Even though it has some fluctuation, but that fluctuation is just the trend of the market. So when I'm trading, actually pulling the trigger, I use the H3 because it gives me a faster confirmation that is set to go in that direction. And then it sets faster to go back in the opposite direction.
Where the H4 might be a flip-flop, you have it
Yeah,
permanently in the H3.
Yeah, the H4, let's see, 5.
That's great. I
The
like that.
H4 was actually all red.
Yeah, the
It's the
H4
H3
was
that changed colors.
correct. The H4 probably was all red at this point. So you probably would not got this trade, right? So that's why when I'm in the heat of the moment, trying to see if I can trade this, I use the H3 because the H3 tends to follow the price action for what's going on now, regardless if it's going to saddle. The H4 never saddle. It's just telling you just wanted to go short.
Say
But
that
you know, the H3 stayed below the 0 line, then it saddled to continue the trend. The H4 was probably red still.
can we say
But-
that H23 could be used for scalping?
Well, I use it period to trade, to get into my trade. I'm not taking a trade if my H3 is not aligned with my if it's scalping or whatever it is.
Got it.
If it's not aligned, I'm not taking it. I don't use the H4 because I'm not able to take advantage of this trade with my H4. But the H4 was telling me it still wanted to go short. I just needed the H3 to saddle to make the continuation. So that's the difference between the H3 and H4.
Quicker saddle too. Nice.
Yeah, so
Yeah, very
they
nice.
do the same thing, but the H3 just fluctuates a little more and helps you take advantage of some of these pullback trades.
Santiago,
Wow.
could you give me or give us, for those who don't have it, the setting for the H3?
And Santiago, I don't have the
Not-
lines in the chart, the trend lines. I don't know why I have only arrows. Yeah.
975.6.
975.6 on the 1 hour, using the 1 hour time frame.
Okay, thank you.
And then I have a visualization is the 15.5 and the 1. And the 30 and the 1 hour. The 1 hour and on down.
Got it. Thank you.
But I like to use the H4 when I analyzing because it's smoother. I don't have all the when I'm analyzing, the fluctuation can screw the overall trend direction. So this is strictly when I'm trading to get that early entry, the early set, but I already know which direction I'm going. And if I'm trading within the trend, I'm biased to the short, so I wouldn't even take this trade up. But now I'm able to take that trade up while I'm waiting for the continuation.
Okay, I just wanted to make a point about the session trade versus the day trade. So Deborah's question about H3 not matching the H1 or H10, that becomes a session trade where you have the daily high and the high of the session. If the H10 doesn't come in line with the H3 at the end of that session, I'm out of the trade because it's no longer a day trade. But if the H10 comes in line with the H3 by the end of that session, I'm in a day trade at that point because it's a continuation.
Then it's just a continuation.
You don't get out, you just stay in till they get out of alignment again. Does that make sense?
Awesome.
Deborah, does that make a little bit? I mean, does that make
Yes,
better sense
yeah,
to you?
yeah, that's great.
Because I know I was thinking about that before and how this can be confusing and how people can be missing trades waiting for these alignment and you only have a specific session that you trade off of. So
Mhm.
it can get frustrating while waiting, and then when the actual trade comes in, you're not even trading that session. So right, knowing how to use the H10 and H3, allows you to take advantage whatever session you're trading.
Right.
Even if you make a long assessment, the market is going short or whatever.
Mhm.
Some people go only trade the London or just the New York session. So you need to know how to capitalize on those trades when you see it. And the H3 helps you with that. It doesn't necessarily have to be aligned with the H10. So
Okay.
hopefully that can improve some of your trade.
So on this one, just do the US session based on that, just the session trade. How would you do it?
Okay, this is you coming into the New York session here, right? The H3 is angling down. You're only looking for shorts. You're aligned with the H10, and even if this wasn't aligned, you're following the H4 or H3, right? You're only looking for shorts. So you just want to find the high of the session, right? This is the 1 hour saddled right here. So you're at the high of a session, correct? So everything got aligned, let's say right here to take a short. It changed color. Maybe you get scared and get out.
Mhm.
That's fine. It's saddled again. You got another entry to go short, right? Still made 40 something pips out of this.
Yeah.
I'm just giving you a scenario of how mentally you're saying, okay, the market is trying to change and maybe go up, because this could be the low of the session, and now I'm trying to go up again.
That's a
But-
great illustration of within the session, when the H3 and H1 get out of alignment, what to do.
getting out of alignment, right? Now, if you focus enough, you know it's trying to go short, but you don't want to take that chance of it continuing to go up. So you get in here, right? You made 17 pips, maybe start going against you at this point. No, even at this point, it had changed color. So maybe you out with 15, 13, 17 pips. That's fine. You wait to see if it lines up. I'm not going long because it's not aligned with my H3. So I'm only looking for shorts. Once it get aligned again, now you got a better trade, right? Now you got a bigger 30 something, 40 pips trade.
Yeah,
this
normally you're not going long because the H3 and H1 are not aligned. Your long-term trade, the H10 is telling you you're going short. So the
Right.
H3 could flip, when the price starts to go up, it could start flipping to blue. And you're saying, oh man, should I go long? Not really, because your H10 is set in color at that point. You're waiting for a short setup.
Mhm.
Okay,
Okay, that's very helpful.
yeah. So that's how you keep your mindset straight. That's why you have to have a plan as to what you're going to do with that day on that pair.
Yeah, it's up to the trader, like you've mentioned many times, Rajiv, but on the first entry, the beginning of the New York session, if you have your hard stop at the swing high, it wouldn't have taken you out. You'd still
Correct.
be in it. Now, that depends on the trader. I mean, me, I'd probably get out because I'm a coward, but you never know, it continued on down.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the emotions come into play, right? Because
Yeah.
the H3 and H4, H3 may be flipping blue, H1 is already blue. You're not sure if the low of the day has been set. So, you say, okay, I'm up 10 pips, whatever, I get out. 10 pips is better than minus 10.
And re-enter. Yeah.
And then your long term is short. So you just wait for another short setup. And, that confirms your trend on all four or all three. H1, H3, and H10, and you have your trade for the rest of the session.
And the beauty too is a lower high.
Correct.
It just keeps, the trend's down. I mean,
Correct.
the H10 and H3 tell you,
Correct.
but your structure on I'm not talking right, but anyway, lower high. So
Yeah, the price action structure is
price
still
action.
holding.
Thank you. Yeah, I was looking
So-
for that word.
If I was trading and I know my H10 is red, I would actually not get out. I would take an add-on. At the
There you
side.
go.
You so
Yeah.
Again, that's just me, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Others would get out and get back in. I mean, it takes all of us to make a trading session, right? But we should all be making money, whether it's 10 pips, 20 pips, 50 pips, makes no difference.
At this point in this session, this is a little bit rocky, right? But this is real life. You're gonna see this rockiness, but it gives you opportunity when at this point when you see the 10-minute changing color. If you're still holding on, you see that the 30 minutes changing color. Okay, you're out of that trade with some profit. Now you have to wait for alignment. The H3 is red. I'm just waiting for another alignment, right? If the market wants to turn around from here up, I'm not going long until the H3 is aligned with this trade, and I probably missed the first move up, but let it set up again if it's going to continue to go long and get aligned to go long.
Yeah, and another point, when I trade, when I'm up 15 pips, I might break even regardless.
Right.
So I just let the trade run. If it takes me out at break even, it's still a winning trade. I didn't lose any money.
You didn't lose, right? Right
Yeah.
on.
So then I just wait for a second setup. If the market is going to turn around, either I wait for an impulse on the H1, changing color, the blue curve crossing the zero, setting it up for a high of the session, and I can trade that long trade. But my mindset is that I'm going short. If I want to scalp to long side, then I'm going to wait for the turnover on the H1 just to confirm.
Hey, Santiago,
Yes.
would you be willing to post your current template there on the right side of the screen, that gray one in the room? I can see those colors pretty good. I'm red-green color blind, and mine are similar to those colors. And I also, all those settings you have, my oscillators are quite a bit different here and there.
Okay.
If you'd
Yeah,
be willing to do that.
yeah, I can, actually, I had sent it to, let's see.
But the one on the left, I can't see really. I'd have to change colors.
Oh, the one on the left, okay.
Being red, green, colorblind. I like the one on the right. The oscillators are all like I need for the tree.
Yes, please, Santiago. And also because I don't have the trend lines as you have. in the
Oh, okay.
chart.
You
Go to
probably,
the MACD settings there, Santiago. And go to the colors. You see that 3 and 4, number 2 and
Yes.
3, that's for the line. So if you don't
Oh,
have it,
okay.
you have to see if your colors are set.
Okay.
If you have the arrows, you have it there, but you just don't have the colors set for the line. That's all it
Okay.
is.
but
Okay.
you know, if you put it in there, if you have to, because you may have to put your indicator in a different folder. If it's not coming up, because that's probably what it is. It's the line is not coming up, right?
He's seeing the arrows, but not the line. So he's got the indicator in the right folder. He just hasn't done
Well,
that.
I don't have arrows.
No, he has arrows, but not the line.
Right.
So
That's correct.
he needs to go into the indicator and set the color for the line. So he
Okay.
then have both the arrows and the line if he wants.
Right.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, 3 and 4.
But let me oops. All right, that's that template on the right that I just sent.
Thank you very much. Appreciate
Oh,
it.
you're welcome.
Excellent teaching, by the way. This is just delightfully fantastic, guys.
Now this, you're welcome. This is new for me to be able to teach or trying to explain stuff. And I know sometimes it may not be as easy or to understand. So every time we change something, we're not changing the system. We're just trying to find an easier way to see if people can understand it better.
Explain,
I would suggest we take a break at 11 o'clock my time, so another 10 minutes, and then come back and do the simulation. Is that
We
okay?
can do a simulation.
Okay.
That way I can stop the recording, so I can have a break.
Sounds good.
Does anybody else have any other questions or want to see something else or? Yeah, I know sometimes it's a lot to learn, but if you just try to keep it as simple as possible. Know what each stuff does. All right?
Yeah. Key
So-
of the
so-
key of the trading is high of the session, high of the day, low of the session, low of the day.
Yeah, correct.
That will keep you from making mistakes, or keep your mind set. And especially if you have your 4-hour analysis done, you know what you're looking for at that point. And that's the trade plan you develop, and you trade that plan. And you should come out with more success than failure. And that way your account is going to grow. It's just a matter of getting confidence in yourself that you can do it while you're trading.
So if I ask you guys, why do I even have a H10 on here? What does that represent to you? What does that mean to you when you're looking at your chart or trading?
4-hour trend.
All right. Anything else?
4-hour trend.
I'm trying to see what everybody else is thinking in their mind when they see the H10. Like Deborah, when you see your H10, what do you equate that to, or what's on your mind when you see a change in color in H10?
I just see that as the trend that I have to follow. And then when it changes color, it flips me out. But Rajiv explained what happens, when the price action goes above or below that, the MACD line, then it changes color,
Mhm.
right? So now I have I won't be so concerned. I'll be following the short trend of the H3 and then knowing that the H10 is going to, if the price continues down, it's going to line up. It'll change.
All right. Now look at this 15-minute chart. This 15-minute chart has 4 hour 762.5. So it's an illustration of the H10. So this and this line on the 15-minute is the same, right?
Hmm. Okay.
This line has been orange, meaning short all this time. This is where the market turned around, where the H10 peaked out and it's telling you it wants to turn around, right?
Hmm.
This is a pullback on the H10 and then a saddle. The color never changed. Even on the way up, the color never changed because it's telling you the market is trying to saddle.
It's basically the slope of the MACD line on the indicator below. That's all
Correct.
it is.
Okay.
So now
Yeah.
it's sloping back down, right? You're not taking any you're not looking to go short based on the H10 until one this changed color, right? But look at the slope of the line. Now you definitely want to take that short according to, to follow your long-term trend, because
Right.
now the momentum has changed to a downward movement. Sometimes it's hard to see it here, but visually you can see it with the line shifting direction.
Got it.
So this line is already telling you what the H10 is trying to do.
And the line will not flip-flop as much as the
Correct.
histogram.
Correct. LB, even if this flip flops to red and blue right here, this will stay orange, telling you the momentum is still short. The change in momentum, the line curving, is telling you the market is trying to pull back, but the color hasn't changed, so the momentum to the downside is still there. It's just temporarily the market is trying to pull back, right? If I'm following the 4 hour trend, this is my H10 following the 4 hour trend, correct? So
Okay. Yeah.
when it comes back over here and you see the curvature of the line, that means the momentum is picking up again to the downside.
If you go to the 5-minute, that's the H1 line, which is the session line.
If you go to the, do I have the H1?
Yeah, that's the H1.
Actually, I don't.
What do you have? The
I have a H3 on my 5-minute. My 1 minute has the H1.
Oh, okay. Yeah, go to the 1 minute. The H1 is the black and white line, and that's your session line.
Correct. This is my session line. Let's make this go into so small. Actually, let me do this. Make it easier. Put it on the 5-minute too. Okay.
I think that's the 15-minute, not the 1 hour. The black and white.
It's the 15-minute
Yeah,
time.
so
It's
15 minutes,
it's the 15-minute, but it's still the 1 hour.
1 hour. Okay.
1 hour
So,
setting.
okay.
So look at the session. You're following the black and white line, right? Look at your 1 hour. Even if this hasn't set color yet, the 1 hour, look at the change in direction in your line. It's starting to curve up. Over here, it's completely changed color. So you know at this point, you're already at the low of the session. You're only looking for a long trade at the low of the session, right? Look at the 1 hour here. You're at the high of the session, but you don't know yet, right? The 30 minute
Right.
is telling, 30 minutes giving you a heads up that you're at the high. Well, the market hasn't shifted momentum yet until it starts to curve. Right?
Mhm.
Then,
Yeah.
then you can start looking for a trade off the high of the session here. Sometimes it's a lot easier to read. And because of the price movement, maybe it takes longer.
Yeah.
But the curvature of the line to tell you when the momentum has shifted.
I mean, it is a lagging indicator, so it won't be exactly, I mean, it is what it is, but it's giving you a visual representation of where the session is headed.
Correct.
Like here, where you just were, go to your right again, sorry. You see that white line is sloping down, coming down, but you look at the H1 histogram, it's changing from red to blue, red to blue, red to blue.
Yeah.
So in this case, your H3 and H1 lines on the chart are both telling you it's a short.
To stay in.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Because the momentum is there. It's just
Trickle down.
pausing. It's
Yeah.
pausing.
Yeah.
Right? You're settling. It's just a pause. Well, the line tells you that it hasn't changed color. The momentum may have shifted a little bit to the side, but it hasn't changed color.
Right.
All right, take a break now, or do you want to say do anything?
No, yeah, we could take a 5, what is it, 10 or 5 minute break? Or what you
Yeah.
want to do?
Well, we take a 10-minute break. But any further questions before we take the break?
Nope.
Okay, I'm stopping the recording.